Hello, this is D Mart, and today I will be doing a movie review on the movie Night of the Museum, the first one. Okay, so as the review goes, I'll basically be doing the synopsis, then likes and dislikes, and then I'll rate it. So the movie follows Ben Stiller's character, Larry Daly, and Larry Daly is a struggling inventor. He's also a father, and he's also trying to keep a stable job while trying to become an inventor. Um, what he's trying to invent is something called the snapper, snap, which is basically a ripoff of the clapper. Yeah, so he's also trying to keep his kid because he's divorced. So trying to make plans with his kids and stuff. Kid. So while trying to find a stable job, he tries to get a job at the Museum of Natural History in New York, American Museum of Natural History. Sorry. Um, so one of the characters, Cedric, Cedric, Cecil, yeah, played by Dick Van Dyke, another phenomenal actor. He basically hires him, um, because him and his two other friends, Gus and Gus. I don't remember the other guy's name, the black guy's name. I just remember the fat, chubby old guy and the other one, whatever. Cecil, Gus, and whatever the other guy's name. They're about to retire, so now they need a new night guard. Um, Larry being the new night guard. Now they didn't, so they gave him basically a bunch of rules with just random rules saying this is what you have to do throughout the course of the night, every single night. So on his first night, he realizes what the rules are for. Since the museum comes to life at night every night, he has to make sure none of the exhibits leave the museum, or they'll be turned to dust. So yeah, so one of the characters, played by Robin Williams, is Theodore Roosevelt, our 24th president, or 26th, I believe. Someone correct me on that if I'm wrong. It's 24 something, whatever. Someone correct me, please. I'll appreciate it. Um, so yeah, Robin Williams plays Teddy Roosevelt, who has a crush on Sacagawea, played by can't remember her name right off the top of my head. It was like I remember she had an Indian name. Like wait, here it is, Mizua Peck. Mizoa Peck, I guess, is her name. Yeah. So Mizoa Peck plays Sacagawea, and that's like Roosevelt's love interest throughout the movie too. So back on check on with the rest of the review. So Larry Daly is basically trying to survive this madness, and he basically meets many of the other exhibits, including not really celebrity cameos, I would say, but I guess historical cameos in a sort of way, such as Columbus, um, Roosevelt, Sacagawea, Achman Ra, Octavius, and Jedediah Smith, all actually pretty famous people back in history at some point or another. So there's also another monkey, a capuchin monkey called Dexter, which also is pretty comedic. So basically, what Daly's supposed to be doing is keeping all the exhibits in line, trying not to get himself killed by the fake Civil War veterans or stuffed up lions. Um, yeah. So the so that's on the first night. He's basically trying to survive. On the second night, actually no, before the second night, he basically does some of the research on some of the stuff, like Easter Island heads, because Easter Island head that goes, hey dum dum, you bring me gum gum, which was pretty funny. Then besides that, he researches T Rexes because there's Rexy, if you know. T Rex, Matilda Hun, African African animals, capuchin monkeys, Greek history, Western history, a bunch of stuff. He goes on library, cavemen. He also researches all that. So on the second night, it goes a little bit better till the cavemen start a fire because he gives the cavemen a lighter because trying to figure out fire. Then also the other miniature people, the cowboys and the Romans, start fighting. Yeah, so a small miniature war breaks out on them. Besides that, one of the cavemen gets loose and turns to dust, and he gets, so to speak, away his ass kicked by a small capuchin stuffed monkey. On the third night, he brings his son over to explain what the situation is, and that's when shit hits the fan. Um, Cecil, Gus, and the other black guy, still don't remember his name. Um, they try to steal the tablet, and for those who don't know, it's the reason why everything comes to life at night. The tablet of Akhman Ra, which, for those who didn't actually know, is a real tablet, but it really doesn't bring anything to life, except for maybe hope or inspiration. But that's your opinion, and not for me to judge you on that. Yeah, it doesn't really bring museums to life, so don't get any ideas about that. So obviously the people were trying, the three Gus, the Cecil, and the other guy were trying to steal it, along some of the gold to sell it and become rich millionaires to have a good retirement. They get caught, but except for Cecil, Cecil runs off with the tablet, and he runs off with the tablet. Eventually, they do catch him, and all the exhibits go back into a museum after Akmaran commands them in Egyptian to go back into the museum. And yeah, Larry Daly stays there until the events of the Night of the Museum 2. I'll do a review on that movie another day. Whatever. So I thought it was a pretty decent movie. It has pretty good cast. Ben Stiller, Dick Van Dyke, Robin Williams, pretty notable people. I mean, then you have a bunch of other people. I mean, the guy who did the the lady who did Sacagawea was pretty good. Same thing with Aquaman Ra's actor. Was pretty good. The Taylor Hunt's actor was pretty good. Stephen Colgan and Owen Wilson, who did Jedediah and Octavius respectively, they're pretty good. Or yeah, yeah, they're all pretty good. I mean, some of the, it was pretty good, uh, overall, but I mean, it had its problems. Like, dinosaurs animatronics at first were, I won't say fake, but I won't say where they were the best, cause when the dinosaur was trying to get like its water in a water fountain, it looked kind of. I mean, it was. I know it was meant to be funny, but it was like something that made it look a little bit too robotic to an extent, if you know what I mean. It's like not CGI'd, but it just looked like it was basically a giant robot, cause like the way it moved. But it was meant to be funny, which at the end was a pretty funny scene. It hits tail and Larry falls back and just goes blah 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 over the stairs. Pretty funny. Yeah. One part I didn't particularly like um was um was see when the lions, after Dexter rips off the instructions, the lions are coming to him, and that part looked extremely like it didn't look real. I mean, and for reason being, I don't know if I'm pretty sure that's how they tamed like the lions, but I mean, what I'm just thinking, like, okay, you have lions and you have food. Even if you're recently fed, the guy looks like it's about to threaten the lions. Won't they like attack it to protect their asses? I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not gonna say that was a huge, huge problem, but it just kind of bugged me a bit. But nothing really, nothing really major. I mean, you actually did have some pretty good cameos. One of the cameos I found very funny is that at the job agency, the lady Larry was talking to was actually Ben Stiller's real life mom. That I thought was pretty interesting, funny. Um, you don't see really many cameos of actors' parents, unless the actors' parents are also actors. You know what I mean? Um, Besides that, was a pretty decent movie. Good. The comedy was good. The jokes were subtle and yet funny. Yeah. Um, on a rate out of one of 10, one being the worst, 10 being the best, and 6.5 being decent, I will have to put this at a solid 7. Yeah. Night at the Museum 2, Battle of Smithsonian. I'll probably be doing at another day, but that'll be another day. So keep keeping. So just wait for that, and yeah. Have a good night.